Jungkook immediately shoved Emma to the floor. Emma's eyes widened in shock, her breath catching. Before she could utter a single word, Jungkook stood up, towering over her like a dark storm, and his voice cut through the air. How dare you? A cold shiver sent down Emma's spine. Still trembling, she pushed herself up from the floor and tried desperately to regain her composure. She forced a smile masking her humiliation. "Jungkook, I love you," she said softly. "I love you so much." Jungkook froze for a moment. Then his face hardened even more, darkening with disbelief and disgust. "What nonsense is this?" he asked, his voice deep, cold, and edged with. But Emma, refusing to give up, stepped closer. Her voice turned fake sweet, dripping with desperation. "I'm telling the truth, Jungkook. I know you don't love wine. Leave her." Before she could finish, Jungkook cut her off sharply. "Get out." Emma's eyes widened again. She sniffed. She hadn't expected that, not even close. She had always been so sure she could pull him, but now her jaw clenched in anger. "What's wrong in me?" she snapped, her voice trembling. "Tell me." She took another step towards him, forcing a bitter smile. "I know you deserve better. And she has no standard in front of you." Jungkook let out a low, cold chuckle. His hand slid into his pocket as he leaned slightly forward, his expression colder than ice. "So you think you have any standard to even stand in front of me?" Emma blinked rapidly, shocked, humiliated. Jungkook continued, his voice deep. "You know what? Wine has better standard than any other woman in this world." He stepped closer, so close his presence became suffocating, shallowing the air around them. "And listen carefully," he said, each word slow, sharp. "Never speak about my wife again. If you do, you will see exactly what I am capable of. Now get out, or I'll personally drag you out." Emma's face twisted, her pride shuddering. She couldn't even speak. She simply stood there, humiliated to her. Moments later, she go out of Jungkook's office. Jungkook exhaled sharply as he returned to his desk. "Such a headache," he muttered under his breath. He sat down, immediately picked up his phone, and dialed a number. When the person answered, his voice dropped into a cold, commanding tone. "Kim Emma. Reject her application. I don't want her to get any job in my company." He hung up the call without waiting for a reply. Then, without another thought, he went back to his work, expression unreadable, cold as ever. It was now evening. Jungkook was still in his office, burying his work. His finger moved quietly across the keyboard, typing something on his laptop. When a sudden knock echoed through the room, without looking up, his cold voice filled the silence. "Come in." His secretary stepped inside, holding a file in his hand. He stood across from Jungkook and spoke politely. "Sir, the file you wanted." Jungkook didn't bother raising his head. "Put it on my table. I'll check it later." The secretary lowered his gaze and placed the file on the desk. He didn't leave. He simply stood there, hesitating, as if unsure whether he should speak or not. Jungkook finally looked up at him with his cold, sharp eyes. "Speak." The secretary immediately stated, "Sir, Mrs. Jeon came earlier today, but she left right away without saying anything." Jungkook fro knitted together. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes narrowing. What? When? The secretary looked down again. In the afternoon, sir. When I asked her why she came, she didn't say anything. She just left. Jungkook didn't speak for several seconds. His jaw tightened. She came here and left without meeting him? Why? He finally raised his eyes to his secretary again. And you are telling me this now? The secretary lowered his voice. I'm sorry, sir. You already go for a meeting. I didn't get a chance to inform you. Jungkook clenched his teeth. Get out. The secretary bowed quickly and he rushed out of the office. As the door clicked shut, Jungkook leaned back in his chair, thinking, she come and didn't even meet him. But why? Without wasting another second, Jungkook pushed back the chair and stood up appropriately. He grabbed his coat and stood out of the office immediately. One stumbled into the bedroom, barely able to keep her balance. She was drunk, her step unsteady, her mind hazy. As soon as she entered, she shut the door behind her. After that, her knees gave out, and she sank onto the floor. Her vision was blurry. Tears rolled down her cheek, and before she could stop herself, a broken sob escaped her lips. Why? Why is everyone like that? She cried, her voice trembling. Why does it always happen to me? Another sob. Why doesn't anyone love me? Why? She hugged her knees tightly to her chest, her forehead pressed against her knees. As her voice cracked again, barely a whisper. Am I that worthless? She whispered, Why? Why does everyone choose someone else over me? First my parents and now Jungkook too. Jungkook entered the bedroom. The room was dark, silent and still. He frowned, closing the door behind him, then switched on the light. His eyes immediately began searching for one. His gaze landing on her, sitting on the floor, her forehead buried in her knees. He frowned. Without a second thought, he kneeled down in front of her. Wine, he said in a low, almost cold voice. Her head lifted slowly. Her cheeks were flushed, her eyes heavy and sleepy. In a soft, almost timid voice, she whispered, You came? Hi. Jungkook frowned, deepened, seeing her flushed cheek and red nose. He immediately realized she was drunk. Are you drunk? His voice was steady but cold. Why shook her head quickly, smiling faintly. No, she protested, then giggled softly, a little bit. Jungkook froze, his gaze locking on her, wobbly form. Suddenly tried to stand, her legs betray her, and she stumbled. Jungkook reacted instantly, catching her before she could fall. Careful, he said in a low, firm voice. Oops, sorry, she mumbled, looking up at him with a shy smile. Jungkook's gaze softened. Without a word, he scooped her into his arms, carrying her effortlessly to the bed and gently laying her down. But before he could move away, Wine reached out, gripping his hand. Don't leave me, please, she whispered, her eyes heavy and innocent. pulling her closer to his chest. "I'm right here," he mumbled, his deep voice warm and steady. Wine immediately snuggled against him, wrapping herself around his chest as if seeking the warmth and safety only he could provide. The room was silent for a long moment, only a faint rustle of and their quiet breathing could be heard. Finally one broke the sentence, her voice trembling and broken. "Why? Why does everyone hate me? Why no one loves me?" Jungkook frowned, confused. His heart tightened at her words. She spoke again, her voice cracking. "You, you love Ima, not me. Everyone hates me. Why?" His chest tightened, hearing her say that hurt more than he expected. He gently pulled back the hug, just slightly, his deep voice steady but firm. "What? Who told you this nonsense?" While lifted her teary eyes to his. "I know. I saw you and Ima, in the office. She was sitting on your lap, her soft return, shaking her small frame. And and that day at the party I saw you both coming out from the balcony together." Her lips formed a small pout as she lowered her gaze. Then looking up with him, eyes full of hurt, she whispered, You choose her, love her, not me." Jungkook's chest tightened, a heavy weight settled in his heart. He finally understood. Wine had come to his office today and seen them together, and even at the party, she has seen them together on the balcony too and misunderstood everything. He let out a long, steady sigh. Gently, he placed his palm on her cheek, lifting her gaze to meet his. Her eyes were still heavy and sleep, toy-like and fragile. Slowly, he began to caress her cheek with his thumb, his voice low and steady. "It's nothing like that," he mumbled, in a deep, reassuring voice. "It's nothing at all." One blinked with her toy eyes, searching for the truth in his word. Jungkook leaned closer and spoke again, softer this time. "Sleep now. We'll talk tomorrow." Hmm? One pouted, her lips trembling. Then she pulled him closer, wrapping her arms tightly around his waist. "Please, don't leave me alone. Everyone leaves me. Please, you don't. Right?" Jungkook didn't speak immediately. He simply listened, letting her words sink in. Slowly, he wrapped one hand around her waist and another across her back, pulling her closer. "Never," he said in a deep, steady voice. "I will never leave you." Moments later, her soft snore filled the room. He had fallen asleep on his chest. Jungkook, however, did not sleep. He stayed awake all night, thinking about her word, her pain, and the misunderstanding she carried. His mind was made up. He would clear every single misunderstanding, no matter what it took. It was morning when Wine's eyes slowly fluttered open. Her version was still blurry at first. Panicking, she slowly tried to slip out of his hold, but the moment she moved, his arms tightened around her waist. And then his eyes opened. In a deep, husky morning voice, he mumbled, "What are you doing?" Wine froze. Her heart beat, pounding so loudly she felt like it might burst. "Leave me," she whispered shakily. She couldn't form a proper sentence. The embarrassment was too much. Jungkook stared at her for a moment and gently shifted. In one swift motion, he laid her on the back and hovered over her. Her heart dropped to her stomach. "Why so early, hmm?" he said, his voice low, deep, too calm for her racing heartbeat. Wine immediately looked away. Jungkook lay beside her, pulled her back again against his chest, his arms securing her waist as if she belonged there. "At night," he said quietly, "you told me not to leave you, and now you want me to leave." He tilted his head slightly. "So tell me, darling, what should I do now? I'm confused." Wine's cheeks. "I'm sorry, I didn't know how, I mean." She shuddered, her voice small and embarrassed. Jungkook watched her struggle for a moment. Then he said it. "I love you." One hair snapped up instantly, her eyes wide. She wasn't sure if she heard him right. He spoke again, clearly, firmly. "I'm serious." One blinked, speechless. "And if you ever think again that I might love someone else or like someone else," he continued in a deep, serious tone, "you are wrong, completely wrong." One stared at him, overwhelmed, confused, and shocked beyond belief. "But I don't lie." She tried to speak. "I saw you both." Before she could finish, Jungkook cut her off, again said, pulling her closer, "There is nothing between me and Dima," he said, his voice firm. Wan's heart sped up for a moment. He mentioned Ima's name. He continued, his tone deeper, more serious. "That night at the party, she came to me, the balcony, to ask for a job. I refused to give any special treatment. Yesterday, she came to my office again and talked nonsense. She slipped on her own and fell on me. I don't know what you saw, but I swear, I pushed her away immediately. I even kicked her out of my company." Wine's heart erased just a little, but she still looked conflicted, unsure. Jungkook lifted his hand, gently cupped her cheek. Her eyes softened, turning teary again. "I'm telling you the truth," he said quietly. "I'm not asking you to trust me blindly. Don't. But—" He brushed his thumb along her cheek. "Can we give this marriage, this relationship, a chance? I promise I'll earn your trust." Wine's cheek just tightened. A strange warmth relief bloomed inside her, something she had never felt before, like someone finally choosing her. She looked down and whispered, I never thought that." Then she slowly lifted her eyes again. "Do you really like me?" "No," Jungkook said simply. Wine's breath stopped. Then he added quietly, "I don't like you. I love you." Wine stared at him. Jungkook smiled softly. "Well, it's not that hard to fall for you." He leaned closer, brushing his nose lightly against her nose. "I fall for you every single day, even harder. Your innocent eyes, your face, your little pout, even your red cheek when you are drunk, and pouting like a spoiled child." Wine immediately shut her eyes, completely embarrassed. Jungkook chuckled under his breath and pulled her back into his arms. "Come here," he mumbled, hugging her tightly. Wine melted. Her ear pressed against his chest again, hearing his steady heartbeat, so warm, so feel real. Jungkook rested his chin lightly on her head, whispering in a deep, calm voice, "I'll handle everything." Then, after a few quiet moments, Jungkook finally broke the silence, his voice low and careful. "By the way, why did you come to my office today? I never got to ask." One's eyes slowly opened again. She hesitated, her voice barely a whisper when she answered. "Actually, yesterday was my friend's anniversary. They invited us, both of us." She swallowed softly. "In the morning, you left early and I was still sleeping, so I thought maybe if you could come with me to the party, that's why I went to your office." But before she could finish, Jungkook's brow lifted slightly. "So you went alone without taking me?" he asked. Wan immediately pouted, shoulders tense. "It's not my fault. I was just—" Jungkook cut her off gently. "It's okay, but don't do that again." Then he added, slowly, "You are my wife. You have every right on me. If you ever have something to say or doubt or anything, you should come to me first." Wan lifted her eyes to his. She felt it, the sincerity in his gaze. Her heart fluttered. She nodded gently. "Okay." Jungkook's eyes softened even more. Then, leaning a little closer, he mumbled in a deep voice of his, "You know, you look cute when you get drunk." Why shut her eyes tightly, hiding her face? "Not again, please." A low chuckle escaped Jungkook, rich, soft, and absolutely amused by her reaction. Few weeks passed by. Jungkook and Wan's relationship had grown stronger, much stronger. The love between them was growing each passing days. Jungkook made sure every single day that Wan felt valued, that she felt like the one who deserved all the happiness in the world. It was morning. Wan was sitting in the living room reading a book peacefully while Jungkook was already at the office. The house was quiet until suddenly the roll bell rang. She frowned. Who would come at this time? She got up, walked to the door, and opened it. Her body froze. Emma stood on the doorstep. Her eyes were filled with her jaw clenched tightly. One blinked, confused. Why had she come here? Emma stepped closer. "So it's you," she said sharply. "Am I right?" One frowned harder. "What?" Emma let out a chuckle. "It's you, isn't it? The one who told Jungkook not to give me a job?" Only then did Wan understand that what she was talking about. Emma continued. "He even rejected my application. And because of him using his sources, no other company wants to hire me now." Instead of fear, one felt something else rise in her chest. Relief, satisfaction. One crossed her arms slightly and said calmly, "I guess he did the right thing." Emma's eyes widened. She didn't expect one to talk like that. "What?" she snapped. Then she laughed bitterly. "So it was you who manipulated him." One step closer, her voice firm but calm. "You are the one who tried to manipulate him, but I guess you couldn't. Am I right?" Emma's eyes darkened. "How dare you? Get out." One said immediately. Emma sniffed. "My husband already kicked you out of his company." One continued, her tone icy but steady. "And now I'm kicking you out of my house. So get out, or I'll call the guards." Emma was stunned. She had expected Wine to listen to her, but she hadn't expected this. With an angry storm of her feet, she turned and stormed out. Wan watched her retreating figure, a small smile tugged at her lips. A wave of peace settled over her, and she whispered to herself, I did the right thing, trusting Jungkook.